so happy it all been fake. This was the but you take. And I dug my own grave, and you buried me. The love I have now went out of hand. I dug my own grave, and you let me go.
Don't you wait to come back, 'cause I've been gone a long time, and you never knew. You bury the house, how it all went down so long ago. You can't see it starting over again. And all along we know it's wrong, but we're not quite set in the hand. Tell me if you're awake. Can I talk to you again? Tell me was it mistakes that have made us only friends? Now I notice how you don't stay anyways. Falls apart and yet still we start, 'cause we're not quite set in the hand. Tell me if you're awake. Can I talk to you again? Tell me was it mistakes that have made us only friends? Now I notice how you don't stay. All along we know it's wrong. I was not DOA. It falls apart and yet still we start. That's how we play these games. So say it now if you ever will. And please don't hesitate. And just don't wait. And I've noticed now you don't stay anyways.
Evening. Hi, Sticks. You alright? Are my sound and music levels okay? Or are they completely out? And I've not got my webcam set up yet. I'll have to do that for another day. So, gonna carry on with my Jamoween game. So far, we've got a bit of a skiing game going on. You can go through gates, score points, miss gates, takes points off. I've got the avalanche working at the top. Voice on mic's very low. Let's try changing that. Is that any better? Move the mic a bit closer as well. So we've got the avalanche at the top of the screen. I've just got it set up at the minute. You press a button and it sort of approaches the player closer and then takes them out. So I'm going to try and get that working when you hit stuff. I need to add in deaths when you hit the trees. So that's what I'm going to be working on tonight for a bit. Right, I'll have a fiddle about, see what else I can change. Yeah, I've got the microphones turned up to full and I'm literally sat next to it, so... Tell you what, I'll switch to the mic on my headphones for now and see if that makes any difference. Is that any better now? Oh, you've got the choices. I've changed to the headphone now, so which is better, Sticks? I'll let you be the judge. Both the same. Right, I'll go back to the other one then. Right. How's your game coming on then, Sticks? Right, we'll work on first getting the player to hit trees, I think. So I've already got hitboxes that spawn at the base of each tree, and I think I added in, I'm actually registering the hit. Or maybe I didn't. Let's have a quick search for it. Thanks for the follow, Dunnikin. Yes, right. Let's have a search for this hitbox, because I'm sure I set this up somewhere, but... Yep, there it is. Scott Gem, thank you for the follow. How are you doing tonight, Dunnikin? Scott Gem, you alright? I'll show you both where I'm up to with this game at the minute. We've got the skier can score points going between gates, lose points when you don't. Nothing happens when you hit trees at the moment, so that's what I'm going to get sorted out tonight. And I've got the avalanche currently just moves down when I press a button and then wipes the player out. So that's where we're up to at the minute. Well, like the Pac-Mans, yeah, I'd forgotten to actually set them up. I must have set those up when I originally started streaming on YouTube, but they never showed up on there, so I completely forgot about those. Very nice. Cheers, Dunny. Right, so what I need to do is add into the levels some hitboxes so I can create some safe places for the player to respawn. So we'll add a sprite in. Let's call it respawn zone. Stick that in. Just make it 32 by 32. Leave the origin in the middle. It's a bounding box. And we'll give it a different colour to anything else I've used. So what I want to do is, when the player goes over this, I will store the position to that on the player, and then that's the position where they can respawn safely when they get killed. So in the player, we'll add an event that when the player collides with this, and we'll add a global variable, or should I put it on the player? I'll stick it on the player because I'm not going to destroy the player. I'm just going to probably make them invisible, stop collisions and move them to that place. So add a new instance variable. Currently already got one on the player, so when they go through a gate, if they sort of marginally go in either side of it, it won't trigger both. It'll trigger on the first one it's hit. It'll set this bool, and then after half a second it'll reset that, so it can only ever trigger one of them. Right, I'll have to do an X and a Y separate values. And respawn Y. There's me giving out YouTube link on stream, and then you go and pop up here. Yeah, Lightstick says I've been threatening to do it now for a while. So I'll give it a go, see what all you cool kids are doing. Jamoween is taking over Twitch. Seems that way. How did you get on with yours this afternoon, Dunny? I had to pop out about halfway through, so I didn't see where you actually got to. You were just starting, drawing some graves, colouring some gravestones when I dropped out. Right, so when the player collides with that, we want to set the instance variable. So set the X to the X value, and then we'll duplicate that and set the Y to the Y. Good stream, pish out. Yeah, you say that, but I bet it looks really good. So now when the player goes over that, it'll save the X and Y position so that then when I hit trees, I can respawn. So I'll need to put a few more of these dotted about so the player can respawn. So in the player controller, when the player hits the tree, I've created a function here which currently has got nothing in it. So first of all, to check that that respawning's working, we'll just instantly move the player to that point. And the Y value. So hopefully now if I hit a tree, oh, I need to set that to move because it's not scrolling. So I'll add that to the same family as these. Now I've been in it going 3D. 3D, cool. Why is that going like that? What am I done wrong? Oh, it's because I've got it on the avalanche layer, not the game layer. The avalanche layer is a 2D layer, so it's got different coordinates and acts differently to the game layer, which is a 3D layer. I'm hoping that's it. Yep. So now I've gone over that, so when I hit a tree, yeah. So why is that not working? What have I set wrong? The snow's looking better. Yeah, I thought the snowflakes I had at the top just looked like it was a Christmas game. And I know it's not a Halloween game we're making, but I thought Christmas was probably a little bit off. Although I did get in the Christmas mood earlier, ended up watching Home Alone 2. Z elevation 0, size, position. Why is that not setting correctly? Let's debug it and see what. Respawn zone. Right, I know what's going on. How am I going to solve this? It's because everything's scrolling. That respawn zone keeps moving. So it's never actually the same position. Maybe save the UID of it. That might work. Player. As you can tell, I've got no idea what I'm doing. Still trying to get used to Construct again after not using it for a few months. So if we set that to the unique identifier of that. Don't need to bother setting that, and we will rename. Get rid of that, we don't need that. And that can be the UID of that. Was it Construct Sticks was using maybe just a different layout? Yeah, Sticks uses the light theme, I use the dark theme. There's different themes you can switch between. I just prefer the dark one. I know Sticks isn't a fan. Right, so we're storing that whenever we collide with that. So what we need to do in here is I think it's choose an object by UID. No. I thought there was a pick by UID. I think it might have to be a pick by evaluate. So what we'll do is pick the respawn zone. That's right, respawn zone, UID. I'm going to have to Google it because I'm sure there's one to pick by user ID. Thanks for the follow, Achu. How are you doing? Here for my first Twitch stream. Yeah, the jam's not going too bad. I'll show you where we're up to. I'm just currently trying to get the player respawn sorted out, but having a couple of issues. But this is what we're up to. We've got gates you can go through, score points when you go through them and not when you don't. And I've got that manually coming down from the top to wipe you out at the minute. So that's where we're up to. The cyan line, that's the respawn zone that I'm currently working on. It'll be hidden once I've got it working. But I'm just trying to make it when you go over it, save the ID of it, and then if the player dies hitting a tree, then they'll respawn on that. Right, so I was looking at trying to find out how to do it. I don't know whether you've noticed over the last few days, Sticks, if you've been using the documentation on the Construct website, searching seems to take absolutely ages. Right, I think it's pick by unique ID. So sprite player dot respawn zone user unique identifier. And then now that we've got a reference to that, we just need to set the player's position to that. I'm just thinking, because we've got it, maybe I can just do it by the name. I've organised all my stuff this afternoon into folders and I'm forgetting where I've put stuff. Set position to that. So that should, I hope, spawn it at that one that I've picked. Yes, that is working. What I'm going to have to do though is now work out. I need to scroll to that position as well. This is far more complicated than I was planning on it being. Right, try and get my head around this. I think maybe I'll have to do some maths calculation and move everything down the difference between the Y position of that spawn box and where the player currently is. But that's not going to be very nice. Cheers for the follow, J-End. Looking very Christmassy as opposed to Halloween. Yeah, it's a little less Christmassy since I got rid of the snowflakes, but the theme's buried alive. It's not buried alive at Halloween, so I think everything that scrolls is in these two families. Give it a go. It might turn out completely wrong, this. So, when let's add a local variable. And let's set that to the difference between the sprite player minus how's your game coming on, Josh? Is it coming on okay? Replace the object. I'm not sure whether this is going to work. Move that down there to after these. What are we doing first? The level triggers. Set position. We want them to stay in the same position on the X, but on the Y. Copy that, change that. Right, see if this has any effect. And yeah, I think maybe the way I was doing it before was the way storing the white was at that point. I've been trying to splat the most annoying string passing bug for about a day and a half. Oh, nightmare. Otherwise good. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pain for me that I'm doing now. So that's scrolling off screen. So that's why it's spawning on it at silly locations off the screen. Oh, it's got to be trial and error. Right, let's have another go. Let's add respawn X and Y back in. So let's add it into a group so I don't keep losing where it is. Got it in some form of order so it collides with that at this point. Let's duplicate that twice and first set the X to the X value. And the Y to the Y value. So now I've got those values. I'm not wanting to do that anymore. Am I just wanting to respawn it at that X and Y position now? Maybe. Sorry about this, not the most exciting stream watching me bumble about, try to sort code out. Let's see what that's doing. So we've gone over it. Yep, that isn't working either. try debugging it and see if I can spot anything. So the respawn zone, X and Y, the player. Let's just watch these variables and see what they get set as, and I'll just watch the respawn zone X and Y as well. Get rid of these that I was watching earlier. So let's play it for a second. Right, so we've got those set. So that should be the position on the screen where it respawns. Where is the actual player now? Is that consistent whenever it hits that? Yeah, it changes slightly, but not much. Ah, head scratcher. Anybody got any ideas in chat? Disable those. So it is respawning in the right position of the screen of where it hit it. It's just working out how to get all the rest of the scenery to move. So I'm getting the difference. Try these the other two rounds, see if that magically does anything. Use Unity. I'd be even more stuck with that. What you stuck on, can you reiterate the problem? Yeah, what I'm wanting to happen, when I go over that, I'm saving the position because I'm wanting to respawn at that when I hit a tree and die. But the player itself isn't ever moving. The player's staying at the same position on the screen all the time. It's just the other objects I'm scrolling upwards to make it look like the player's moving. So at the minute when it respawns, when it crashes, it's respawning at the right position, but it's just all the rest of the things I need to move to compensate. So I thought that if I got the difference in position between where the respawn zone was and the player's position on the y-axis, then if I then reset all the scenery items minus that position, it'd work. Do you need to make all object constant? I've forgotten what the event's called. Yeah. sort of moving things, but I think I may know why it's doing it the way it's doing it. It's moving some things past. I'll show you what I'm thinking. All the items, when they get less than minus 850 on the y-axis, they get teleported back to the bottom again. So with me taking the y off, some are going above that, and that's why there's like a group of them appearing, and some are staying below and are working correctly. Oh, my head hurts. Could you not just pause the scene and respawn? Yeah, it's just figuring out where to respawn. Because if you've hit a tree here and you respawn at the same place, then maybe it's just a case of making sure there's always a safe area next to any objects that can kill you and just respawning on the left or right of it. That'll work for now, I think. Simplest answer could be the best. So I'm going to add a boolean so I can actually pause the game on and off. And then, so what do I need to do when the game's running? Cheers, Ian, for the follow. You've caught me making a complete arse of myself, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. But right, I only want to do this. What I'm trying to work out now is how to pause it. So, evening, you old bastard. Complimentary as ever. How are you doing? So I'll enable and disable the bullet behaviour when it's paused. Set that enabled when it's running, not when it's not. Duplicate that one, and replace the object. I am not doing bad, Ian. It's under the set time scale. Oh yeah, you can do that, can't you? Instead of... I always do it this way and I always forget there's a set time scale, isn't there? Right. So on collision with a tree, first thing we want to do is pause the time scale. Disable all that for now. So set time scale to 0. Set the player position. We'll leave it the same position on the X, so we'll just set on the Y even, so we'll just set the X position and we'll just do it to self plus and then we'll wait for now for a second, set the scale back to 1. Right, what have I broke now? So we set the time scale to 0, so that pauses it. Sort of working-ish. But if I'm over the left-hand side of the tree, it's still got to be hitting the tree. Tell you what, get rid of this function for now. And set it to the collision hitbox. Where's the abominable snowman? He's not appeared yet. But I am thinking of having some enemies that run across or that you have to avoid. Some that will kill you, some that maybe you'll just lose points if, say, a rabbit runs across and you run over it, then that's sort of working. I'm not really happy with how this is doing, but I think I probably need to sit down and work out the maths of the way I was trying to do it originally. So does the system wait? No. work when the timescale's set to 0, I presume, which would make sense because if the timescale's set to 0, I suppose you're not moving anywhere. Yeah. Turn off collisions when it restarts for a time. Yeah, I think that could be a way to go. One way I could do what I've been trying to do with the respawning on these zones, if I have the layout to be a set height that the course is going to be, then if I move everything down by that amount when it reaches the top as opposed to moving it to a position, that would probably work. But at the moment, I'm not sure how long these levels are going to be. So currently that's at -850, and I'm moving them to $1,500. So that's 2,350. Right, I'm going to have a go at that because call this function again. So I've set it to their own Y position minus 2,350 for now. South Y. Use a flash to indicate a hit. Yeah. That probably is a lot simpler way. Just hitting the tree, turn off collisions, flash for a couple of seconds, leave the player controlling it, and then we just check, see if this works, and then I think I'll probably just do that. That's a good idea, Sticks. Yeah, broke everything. Forget that idea. Chat comes up with a great idea. So when it's the tree, get rid of that. Let's add a bool to the player. Bool for collisions enabled. We'll have that as true. Could probably get rid of those respawns in a bit because I'm not going to be using them. So add another condition to that. Sprite. Check the boolean we've just set. So first of all, we need to set that to false. Set that to false, then at the end we'll need to set that to true again. Get rid of those. We will add flash to the player. I think it should work still flash on a 3D object. Give it behavior flash. I wonder if flash doesn't work on a 3D object. So surely I should have the Sticks Flash normally has options, doesn't it, that you can change. Sure, if I add it to a I must just set them in the code. Yeah, I've added it. It's where is it? The player. There, flash. I thought it had properties that you could set in here, but I presume it's just in the code. Ah, yeah. I remember now. We'll do it for 2 seconds. We'll add a system wait for 2 seconds. So set collisions to false. Flash for 2 seconds. Wait till that's finished, and then re-enable collisions. Hit a tree, flashes, yep, that's a simple solution. Thanks Sticks for that. I'd have been continuing going down the rabbit hole of trying to do some fancy respawn system, which I really don't think's needed now. That doesn't need to be visible. Get rid of these instance variables that we're no longer using. I'm on a delay, so you may get answers before I hear you. I think it's in the code. Yeah, it was. Right, so we don't need that respawn zone either, so we'll get rid of all of those. To be honest, don't need that function. Don't need that. Right, next thing that I want to do, I want to start when the player hits a tree as well, make this avalanche start moving down. So I've already set up an event that moves the avalanche on the Y. So once you've been hit 9 different things, then the avalanche will catch you up, and then you'll be on to the second game, which I've still got to start making. So it should just be a case of calling that function. I think that should just work straight away. It should move the... Yeah, looks to be doing it. Move a bit closer. Bit closer. It's got to get us. And one more, and there we go. The player's dead. And the avalanche has caught us up. That was a nice simple thing to do. So what I need to do now is create a transition then to another layout which will hold the second game. We'll add an event sheet with it. The next level, I was going to do a dig dug type game, but I've decided I'm just going to randomly create a small maze, and in that maze there'll be an exit which you've got to get to, but before going to the exit you have to collect your skis that have come off and also get a shovel to dig your way out. And this is while the maze sort of simulates you being buried in the avalanche, and you've got to get out before your air runs out and you die. So, back in this other level, I need to add in some form of warning text, which can be used just to say the avalanche has got you. I'm going to disable the collisions as well, so the player can't score or lose points when they've just been killed. Because I don't think it'd be... You should be able to score points when you're on a free pass and can't take damage. Is there any more collisions at the minute? Get rid of that because I'm not using that anymore. The avalanche collision, that doesn't matter because that'll catch you as soon as you do it. Project Nim, thanks for the follow. Evening, how are you? Right, so let's add a sprite font onto this level. I've got made 3 sprite fonts the other day, so they're ready to go in. Probably that one. Align it center and center that way. Let's make it as big as the screen. I think this is the first time I've made a game that's been full HD. Normally my pixel art games are about a quarter of the size of this. I'm good, you? Yep, I'm doing okay. The game's coming along slowly. I've got to rename this sprite font so it's more descriptive. Call it UI message. And at the beginning of the level we'll make sure that's always hidden. For the time being I will do... Actually we'll add a countdown in now, I think. So on the starter layout, what we will do is set the text. I'll set it to 3. And we'll wait a second. Duplicate that, duplicate that. I think I'm going to have to use my game running bool that I set up, because that time scale setting that to 0 means that these weights won't work, so the countdown will never progress past 3. So I'll add those back in. They don't need to be under the every tick. So we'll set those scrolling enabled and disabled depending on the game running. Let's just see what that looks like. 2, 1. This game running. Invert that, so not game running disabled, enabled. Start the layout, we'll set that to be enabled. Disabled. Duplicate that and change that one to true after the countdown. I also want to only allow the player to move when the game's running. Insert above. And then we'll put all these keyboard things nested underneath that. So that should now mean that I can't move. Nope, that's not worked. Why did that not work? Is game running? Yep, I know what it is. I was using the arrow keys to move. I must still have the default behaviours enabled on it. default controls, remove those. Yeah, now I can't move until the countdown finishes, and then I can, but I can't go left and right. Why is that? Right, let's hide this. I'll control that by setting it invisible at the beginning. Visible at the beginning. Right, so I can't move while the countdown's going. Countdown finishes, and for some reason it's not going left and right anymore. What have I messed up? If game's running, we're setting those to enabled. Right, those aren't used anymore, so I can remove those. That was just some code I'd put in for debugging when I was trying to get the angles right. So if game's running, keyboard's down. What have I broken? Oh, what have I broken? I've no idea what I've changed here. I've changed something which has completely broken my sideways movement, but okay, so just Control Z in until it works again. Right, I know what it is that's changed, so let's go back all the way. Right, it's the default controls. It's because I'm not simulating the actual control in here when I'm pressing left and right, so eight direction, simulate control left. Just move that to the top. Right, so I've got the default controls removed. Got them both pressing left for some reason. Right, try again. Right. That was confusing me. I'm glad I've sorted that out. Right, so I should now be able to nest these back under that again like I had. Enable that again. Enable those again. Game running to true. Right, let's hope that now works as a countdown at the beginning. 2, 1, I can't move. Now the game starts going and I can move. Perfect. Right, before I got sidetracked with that, what I was going to do is put some text on the screen when the player gets killed. So, when the player gets killed, when they get caught by the avalanche, we'll set that text. Maybe just set it to a scream or something. I will need to set it visible because we hid that text after doing the countdown at the beginning. So set it visible. We'll wait a few seconds. I'm also going to set it so that the game running bulls not running, because then that'll stop any further collisions or scoring of points after the player's died. Game running to false. Destroy the player, wait 3 seconds, and then what we need to do is go to another layout, which will be the avalanche maze layout. So we destroy the player, set the game running to false, set the text visible, set the text to that, then we wait 3 seconds and then go to the avalanche maze level. So we've got a countdown. Hit a tree, the avalanche comes a bit closer, hit another tree, another tree, another tree, another tree, and again. I'm quite happy with how that avalanche is looking. It's a lot better than the snowflakes that I was originally using. And then it goes to the other level. That text could probably do with being slightly smaller because it didn't all fit on. So we've got the level flow sort of done. The player can take damage, respawn, the avalanche catches him, kills him. We're ready to go to the next level. You can score points going through gates. Hi Pet Shop Gal, thanks for the follow, how are you doing? I'm just getting to the end of the stream. I'll probably be finishing off shortly, but I'll show you the game as it stands at the moment. You're a skier, you've got to escape the avalanche that's coming from the top of the screen. You score points by going through the gates, you lose points by not going through the gates. If you hit a tree and other obstacles that are to come, the avalanche moves a step closer towards you. And then it keeps coming. Every time you hit a tree. And then when the avalanche catches you, you then go on to the next level, which is going to be a maze. So you'll be trapped under the avalanche in a maze. You've got to collect your skis and a shovel and then dig your way out of the top. And you've got to do all that before you run out of air and die. So, what else shall I do tonight? Lovely graphic style. I think Pedro will be expecting pixels and be surprised. Yeah, I wanted to do something different this time because all I ever do is pixel art. It was going to be a full 3D game to begin with, but I only started learning Unreal Engine last week, and after a few hours on Friday night trying to start a game with it, realised it wasn't going to happen. So Construct's got some 3D stuff in now, so I'm using that to make the sort of 3D sticker book type art. And just for Pedro, I'll try and throw a cat in somewhere. But I think that's going to be it for tonight. I know I should go raid somebody, but my first time on Twitch, I've got absolutely no idea how to go raid anyone, so it's probably just going to be a case of me ending the stream, unless somebody in chat can tell me some really quick way of how you raid somebody. Sticks can do it. If Sticks wants to do that, raid with no space and the name, I just type that in chat. Yeah, I was just looking to see who was on. Bud Pico's fine. Sticks if you want to raid him, because I presume everybody that's watching will be just as interested in that. So it's right. So thanks everyone for stopping by. Thanks for the follows. Probably stream again a few times this week now that I've got back into it on Twitch. So thanks for all coming, and I'll catch you all later.
Thank you for the raid. Are you on Twitch? Were you streaming Game Jam stuff? Johnny! I was right. Will was on Twitch. It's the only way he could have raided me. How did it go? How was it? Better than that YouTube stuff, eh? Or that YouTube nonsense. I'm just drawing pictures of kids in Halloween costumes. For example, kid with pumpkin on head. Rubik's Cube kid. A bit of a mess. You say that, but basically all Twitch streams are a mess. I've never seen a Twitch stream where it hasn't gone wrong in some small way. Ghost kid with